Well, thank you so much for being here this evening and being with us today. This is it's a great night for us to share and celebrate the work that we're doing as a school district. And I share this all of the time as I get up and have the opportunity to share this presentation. But I don't know if there's many people that actually want to switch places with me and come up and do the presentation, but it is an honor to be up here to do this, but it's on behalf of the entire school district. So I'm honored to represent so many people that each and every day do the great work that we do on behalf of our community and our kids. So special thanks. We have many of our board members here tonight. So a special thanks to our board president, Laura Hausum, our vice president, Michelle Bissell, and board member Richard Micco, who are able to be with us tonight. So please join me in giving them a round of applause for their dedication and leadership to our district. You know, one of the things I love about working in Strongsville is the partnerships we have with so many different organizations or community, and that partnership is evident tonight as we have Mayor Persiak and Chief Fender and Chief Draves and so many of our council people here tonight and our community members here. So I just want to say on behalf of the school board and the district, thank you for your partnership and support and the work that we do that benefits our community together. And finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't share a sincere thank you to my entire administrative team, our teachers and support staff. Again, we wouldn't be where we are as a district today without your dedication and passion, so thank you for what you do on behalf of our kids and our community. Today, what I want to talk about are some aspects of our district, starting with the foundation, anchoring us in who we are, and then we're going to talk a little bit about our financial picture, what we're looking in terms of facilities and enrollment, and then we're going to get into the focus and the future of our district through our upcoming strategic plan. So earlier this school year, we kicked off our beginning keynote convocation with this theme of Be the Difference. And Be the Difference truly inspires us to what we want to do each and every day for our kids. And for our kids, what we're looking at is almost 5,700 students that are in our district. And one of the things that's exciting about Strongsville is it's one of the few suburbs in Cuyahoga County in Northeast Ohio that is actually growing. And so we're thrilled to be a part of a growing district. And of those 5,600 students and some change, it's important to know what kind of students and what students make that up. We have over 287 students in our district that are learning English as a second language. We have a handful of students that receive their entire education online. This is one of our biggest growing numbers. We have over 1,000 learners that are identified as gifted. And I always make this point because I think it's an important point. These are not criteria that we establish in Strongsville City Schools to say, look how good we're doing. These are our state mandated criteria that we have to say how many students we have in our district. 18% of our total student body that's identified as gifted learners in a variety of areas, and that's phenomenal. And it just shows what a phenomenal product and student body and families we have in our community. We have over 600 students that are identified with disabilities, and then we have nearly 1,000 students that are economically disadvantaged and receive our free and reduced lunch services. So again, as you can see, we have a wide range of needs to support as a school district so we can be the best we can be for our kids. So as we take a look at being the difference, what does that mean for us? That means that there's no finish line for learning, that we continue to improve and enhance and look at the fact that we push beyond what's comfortable for the betterment of our kids. It means that everyone has a story, that we get to know our kids, we get to know one another, and understand that because they have a story, we need to share ours and learn those. And we need to make sure at school that we create a place where all students, staff, and people that visit feel a true sense of belonging. And then also as an organization that we know that change starts with us. That change is not about creating comfort, but it's about creating growth. And we care enough for candor to push ourselves so that we can make sure that we're the best for our kids. And so one of the things we did earlier this school year, and we'll talk a little bit more about this in the latter half of the presentation, is we completed a survey. We had over 1,000 stakeholders participate in this survey. And one of the first questions we asked was, in 2 to 3 words, share what Strongsville City Schools means to you. And so when we take a look at being the difference and that there's no finish line for learning and that everyone has a story and change starts with me, how rewarding is it to see that our community, these are our parents, share those same sentiments, that we're inclusive, we're encouraging and competitive, that we're constantly innovating and improving, that we're vibrant and current and excellent. And when we look at our staff, we see similar themes of being collaborative and innovative, determined, helpful, and strategic. excellent teachers and staff, progressive, inclusive, and proactive. Those are words that drive us forward to continue to be better and better each day as an organization. So I want to start by talking about our finances and what we've done as a school district and what we're going to continue to do as a school district to invest in our students. This is our 5-year forecast. It's a document that our treasurer, George Anagnostou, puts together on twice a year to share where our financial outlook is. And as you take a look at this 5-year forecast, there's a few things that I want to share. First of all, this line that's highlighted in blue demonstrates revenue over expenses, or revenue over deficit. And what's that saying? What that is saying is how much revenue are we bringing in versus expenses, and if you see a positive number, that means our expenses are below our revenue. But we also have to understand that in school finance, you pass a levy, which the last new levy we passed was in May of 2019, and that revenue stays relatively flat. So as expenses go up and we have record inflation, we understand that eventually that line is going to meet, and eventually our expenditures are going to exceed our revenue. So as you see, this is a traditional levy funding cycle. But one of the things to celebrate is this line right here. We are in the strongest financial position than we've ever been, at least in the almost 20 years I've been a part of this district. And again, that's the work and dedication of George, our treasurer, our Board of Education, our staff and teachers and community, working together to ensure that we're not just trying to get by, but we're thriving and being able to invest back into our students. So in May of 2019, when we passed our last levy, we made a commitment and a promise to our community and said, if we pass this levy, we will be financially stable through the 2026-27 school year. We are not only going to meet that benchmark, but exceed that benchmark for many years to come. And so it's important for me not just to get up here and share with you, hey, we're in a great financial spot, but I think it's also important to look at what outside groups and organizations, what they're saying about our financial outlook and sources. And so we can spend a half hour talking about all the awards George and his team has won. And they're wonderful awards, but you know what this says? This says from the Association of Business Officials that the way George and his team budget and the way that they report finances is something to be recognized, and it's been recognized for 7 years and 6 years in a row, respectively. The government finance officers, again, look at that achievement in financial reporting, and George has won that for 6 straight years. And I want to talk about that little one in the bottom right-hand corner of the Auditor of State Award for Distinction in Financial Audits. We just received that for the 4th year in a row. Less than 5% of government organizations in the entire state of Ohio received that recognition. So George and his team, that's something to be proud of. And if that wasn't enough to say, hey, we're doing a good job financially, what we can also look at is Moody's. Moody's, as we know, is a financial rating firm. When George and I got together 8 years ago, our financial rating was a AA3. That was a good rating, but not where we wanted to be as an organization. And after continuous work and over the last 8 years, that AA3 has been bumped up to a AA2, to a AA2 with a positive outlook. And now we're at a rating of a AA1, which is the second highest rating that a public organization can get for its financial stewardship. And it's put us in such a strong financial position that we were able to refinance our 2012 bond project, which has saved the taxpayers of Strongsville over $14 million. And so what that means, again, not to go down the historical road, but I've been here since 2003. It's the first time in the history that I've been here as an educational leader that we're able to look forward and look to the future and say, how are we going to invest into our students so that we could truly be a premier school district that provides premier academics opportunities and wellness supports for our kids. And so what I want to do, as you can, for whatever reason, my voice is not cooperating tonight. It's always nice to hear from others besides just me. So I've asked some of my colleagues and team members to join me on video to share what we're doing to invest in our kids academically, and we're going to start off with our work in early literacy.
So LETTER stands for Language Essentials for Teachers of Reading and Spelling. It's not a curriculum, It's not a program. What it is ongoing professional development for teachers who are interested in teaching our students the best, most research-based strategies for reading and writing. What's great about Letters is it's not a fad. It's not something that's going to be here today and gone tomorrow. It's really based on science and research. And when I say science, I mean everything. Linguistic specialists, cognitive therapists, educational professionals, you name it, across the gamut. Thousands and thousands of studies have gone into looking at what makes the best readers and writers. We look at brain scans, eye movements, linguistic patterns, everything you would think, from ears to brain to mouth, to what makes a great reader. And the best part is, every single time we meet with our teachers, we get to look at the studies and apply it to what we do in class. Take that, bring it to the class, and use what we've been learning to really make our readers that much more confident.
I don't know what Steve's little breakdancing move does, but I love it every time that he does it. So again, as he shared, Letters is the work that we're doing with our early primary teachers that's so impactful in terms of setting that great foundation for success. Take a look at it. We've had 38 letter sessions conducted with our staff. 355 of our staff members have trained over 4,000 hours of early literacy training to our staff so that they can ensure that we have the most science-based, evidence-based practices that we're using to set that foundation for our kids as they move forward. So not only are we investing in our academics by early literacy training and support for our teachers, but we're investing in our academic pathways and opportunities for all of our learners. And let's take a look at what we're doing for our gifted students and our high achieving learners in our school district.
We have opportunities to enrich our gifted and high-level learners, starting in 3rd grade with our gifted math classes, to our advanced and honors course options in several subject areas in middle school, and advanced placement courses in high school to support and extend student learning. It's so wonderful to see our students continue to grow and have the opportunities to do so.
So I started with geometry in 6th grade. I did a self-study of Algebra 1, and that has opened a lot of opportunities for me to go into higher level math classes, and it's also provided more opportunities to go into other fields like engineering or other sciences. And I've also gotten to meet a lot of new people, as far as peers and great teachers, and it's been very helpful for me. I've recently been really enjoying our derivatives with calculus, and I love derivations, when you derive formulas from other things. It's very exciting to me.
So I'm not sure when I was in middle school if I was excited about derivatives, but I'm glad she is, and I'm glad we have those opportunities for our kids to be able to excel in those pathways at such an early age. And so if we take a look across the district, our gifted services start in 3rd grade, and then we have honors and AP as we go throughout middle school and high school. But we have 38 different courses for our gifted students and honors students grades 3 to 12, 26 advanced placement courses at the high school. And yes, this number is correct. I verified it to make sure. We have almost 2,000 students, different students, that are enrolled in gifted, honors, and AP courses at our school district, which equates to over 40% of our students involved in this pathway. And so I just want to make kind of a little side note. I'm proud of this number for a variety of reasons. The one reason I'm most proud of this number is that this number is so large because we've taken away barriers and roadblocks for our kids to have access to these courses. We've removed prerequisites. We've removed items that didn't only let certain kids get into programs based on some scores. And so we still have some of those, but this is a testament to our teachers, to our administrative team, who thought forward to say, let's give kids opportunities, let's give them a shot, and look how well our kids are doing in these classes. Finally, we've spent a lot of time, and Kim's here, and I know I'm going to go back because some of the I've been the victim of the freeze on some of these videos. Is not always the best, but this is something that we've done over the past handful of years. So let's listen to the power of the instructional coaches in our school district.
Well, Well, first, I'm so grateful that the district has invested in the coaches as both a parent and a member of the teaching team. I think that they bring a lot of support to our teachers in ways of developing lessons and supporting them inside and outside the classroom, helping to support their students and what they need individually, being able to come into a classroom and provide one-on-one support, I think has been huge. Having the vertical alignment amongst our different subjects and in different grade levels to be able to be more cohesive and connecting that to other educators in our area and collaborating with them has really improved our relevance and as far as what we are bringing to our students every day. We think that as a group, the expertise and resources we can bring to the district is a huge advantage and something that is a benefit to students and staff throughout the district.
So Kim has done amazing work, and Kim is a grade 7 to 12 or 6 to 12 math coach for the district. We also have Jessica Frenchick, who I know is here today as an instructional integration coach for our entire district. We have literacy coaches. So as we think about when I first started teaching years and years ago, you got your classroom, you went in there, you shut the door, and really you were on your own. And the idea that if we truly believe there's no finish line for learning, we have to provide the continuous support for our teachers to learn and grow, and our coaches have done just that by modeling effective practices that engage students in the lessons, by providing focused professional development in a large group and a small group format, and also using student evidence of learning to help drive and adapt the most effective instruction for our kids. And I truly believe that the investment that we've put into our district in terms of instructional coaches has heightened and supported the great teaching that we have in our district each and every day. So as we take a look at moving on from academics to the opportunities, we've taken a look over the years of how can we expand the course offerings that we have for our kids? How can we make sure that they have the best resources or extracurricular or athletic opportunities in coaching? And so let's take a look from some of my colleagues about where we've invested in the opportunities for our kids.
Coming from a very small school, not having really many opportunities for music and having kind of a lack of funding, and then being able to come into Strongsville as a freshman, being a little bit scared to do marching band, but then joining the concert band and finding a community of other percussionists to fit in was something that I didn't really know was going to be possible. And then being able to make the wind ensemble our top honors group as a sophomore and have all of those opportunities open up for joining other outside groups made me realize that I do want to continue music, and I don't know if I would have been able to figure that out without all of the opportunities that Strongsville was able to give me.
Sometimes when all you know is Strongsville, you don't realize the wonderful opportunities that you have. I live in a different community. It's a great community. But I see the opportunities our kids have in Strongsville, the course offerings, the pathways they could have, and it's something to celebrate and be proud of inside of the arts and outside of the arts. So if we take a look at our art offerings across the district, we have 17 different art opportunities for our kids across the district. I'm proud of that, but I have to say when we put the data up here, we need to look at the middle school. And we need to look at how can we increase art opportunities at the middle school for our kids. 24 music opportunities between the high school and the middle school for our kids, and we've also invested in additional staff for our music department. So taking a look at, we moved a couple years ago from every other day instrumental instruction in 6th grade to every day. And I think Mr. Heyer, who was out there earlier, would tell you that's a game changer for our ability to continue to excel in the arts at the high level we do. We added another co-teacher to help support our middle school and high school kids by doing sectionals and working specifically with different instrumentation in both band and orchestra. Again, a significant increase to the skills of our students based on that more individualized small group attention that we're able to provide. One of the things that we did a year or so ago and expanded was expanding the opportunities for extracurriculars in the elementary. For a handful of years we had no opportunities, and then we had one. And now we've expanded that based on the support and leadership of the board. So let's take a look at Chapman Elementary School.
Here at Chapman, I'm in newspaper club. So right now we are writing an article about people's favorite stores, and then we're going to go to the stores and review them. I like newspaper because we have a challenge and we can also meet a lot of new people, and it's really fun.
Here at Chapman, I am in makerspace. We make fun crafts and learn about how physics and things move. One of my favorite projects we did was make rockets that flew about 50 feet.
Here at Chapman, I am in student council. My favorite part is probably the arts and crafts and the activities we do.
We love being involved in Chapman with all these fun activities.
And it's so rewarding to be able to provide those opportunities for the kids. As you can see the numbers, this year alone we have almost 900 kids that are now doing extracurricular activities that didn't have that opportunity in the past because we've invested in our kids, their opportunities. You know, one of the things that happened right when I became superintendent, close to that, Andy Heyer, who we've talked a lot about tonight, came to me and said, Cameron, we have so many school-owned instruments, and they're in disrepair, they're falling apart, we can't keep up with them. Can we do something about it? And we did, and here's some of our Mr. Heyer and our students talking about the work that we've done.
Every year, the Strongsville City School District provides an instrument replacement budget that we use to replace worn-out instruments in our band and orchestra fleet. We keep instruments from 5th all the way up through high school. These instruments over time start to wear out and become unreparable, and we have to replace those. So we use these funds to purchase new instruments, and we also use these funds to add additional instruments when we have more students who are in those sections. So we're very fortunate to have funds so we're able to maintain and keep instruments that are operable in hand of our student musicians.
Every year I've been in the music department at this high school. New instruments have been a huge part of the success of our orchestras and bands. We all really appreciate the new instruments that we get every year.
And so just as we want to ensure all of our classroom teachers have the tools and resources and the kids have the tools and resources to be successful, we need to make sure that's true for our music department as well. So over the 6-year period that we've been investing in this, we've invested over $300,000 into the instrument replacement fund. And I think I'm excited to say this year we have completed all of the replacements and the catch-up that we've needed to do. Now we're just on the annual maintenance basis, and we're thrilled to provide those opportunities to our kids and our families. Athletics is also an important part of what we do as a school district, and about a year ago we started the conversation to say, you know what, when we take a look at our coaching levels across, based on past reductions years ago, we have less coaches available and hired to support our student athletes compared to similar school district or league school districts. So in collaboration with the board, we studied that, we provided data, and we've invested in ensuring that our kids have the coaching levels necessary so they can be successful on the court, the field, or on the ice.
This year we were fortunate enough to receive an additional assistant coaching contract from the school district. Approved by the Board of Education, which we were very thrilled about. With the additional coaching contract, we were able to use that position to work with our younger guys to have opportunities in the varsity level in the future. Also to work with our goaltenders, especially on the ice for practice. When you have 3 zones, we can have a coach in each zone. So it's been a wonderful addition. I can't be more happy and thank the school district for the opportunity of an assistant coach.
So yes, one part of the investment was investing in coaches, as you could see here, but it's also about bringing new opportunities for our kids. So at the high school level, we have 13 new coaching positions, as well as some additional student opportunities in terms of the dance team and the spirit squad, as well as the middle school. We have 10 additional coaching positions and new opportunities. We reinstated previous cuts of 8th grade boys, a second team of 8th grade boys and girls basketball, a previous cut of 8th grade volleyball. We've inducted for the first time, I think ever, except years ago, 7th and 8th grade cheerleading for basketball and football. and we have an intramural program that's just gone through the roof in terms of student participation. That's happening for grades 6 to 8 in the fall, winter, and spring. And so those have been great additions and investments into our kids, investing over $115,000 into our athletic and activities program for our students. So lastly, I want to take a look at wellness. Wellness is looking at making sure that we have adequate coverage of school counselors, social workers, outside partnerships, and safety enhancements to support our students in navigating life in 2023. So let's take a look at some of the work we've done over recent years with our elementary counselors.
So coming out of the pandemic, we've noticed a lot of crises with the mental health aspect of our children. K through 12, we are noticing that here in the elementary buildings as well. The district's invested in putting one elementary counselor per building. That provides us with the opportunity to be preventative with classroom lessons, small groups, and individual counseling. Being in one building provides the school counselor to become the fabric of the building, being able to be part of the BLT, the PBIS committee, which allows us to run and be part of the preventative measures that are necessary to help our students. At one time I was traveling between 4 buildings, then down to 2. And my time now is well spent as I'm working to help my students instead of trying to catch up with where I was at last week or the day before. The district, I think, has taken a strong stance on not only the academic side of our students, but also the behavioral side. We need to help our students with the basic physiological needs of feeling safe and secure, having friends, and having emotional supports. That leads to then academic success.
So Mr. Shiley is one of our outstanding elementary counselors, and as we take a look at what is probably our most pressing need as a school district, it is the mental health and wellness of our students. And as we take a look at what we've done over the years of investing, of going from 2 to 3 to 4 to now 5 counselors at the elementary buildings, so we have 1 per building, 3 at the middle school, 5 at the high school, divided alphabetically. This is not something that is going to reduce, but something we're going to have to look at how we can best support those needs internally. But what we've also looked at is how can we provide partnerships. It was called Nancy Laurie and Associates, now it's called Mindfully, about how we've partnered with a community clinical counseling company to bring that service into the schools to start and to continue the work of helping to support our kids that need more therapeutic-based counseling services. So just from the first half of the year this year, you could see we've got 141 students that are engaging in this support from Mindfully, broken about almost half of them coming from elementary school, and the other 50% divided between the middle school and high school. But look at that number, 1,137 encounters. That means we've had over 1,100 students reach out for this support from Mindfully, and that's not even counting the services that we're providing to our students through our social workers and school counselors. So we're thrilled that we're able to provide this resource and support our students with mental health in our school district. Let's take a look, as I said, we have social workers for the first time. And let's take a look at this is Celia Joyce about the work that they do in our district.
I would say based on what I've seen the past couple years, especially post-COVID, it's really important that social workers exist in the school district. We're constantly busy working with counselors, teachers, parents, and students, guardians, families, to make sure that the student is safe, not only in the school, but in the community at home, that the family has resources and they have what they need. And we help, families overcome and students overcome certain barriers that are preventing them from academic success. It's really nice working with students and seeing their successes over time since you're with them a lot. So you'll see them come up to you and be really excited. Hey, Miss Celia, guess what? Someone messed with me today and I walked away, and that's a big deal.
And so as we take a look at the supports that we provide from our school counselors, of supporting with them the day-to-day academics and challenges and building those relationships and those social emotional skills, we have 2 social workers in our district, and those social workers provide a unique service to not only help the student, but to provide wraparound services and help our families with the resources and the supports that they need, because as we all know, the success of our students starts with a strong home base, and when we can provide those supports to not only our kids, but our families, that's going to enhance our kids' opportunities for success in our school district. And lastly, I want to share with you an update about what we've done as a school district to invest in the safety of our students and staff.
We're not only here for the safety of the students, we're able to make friends with the students and get them to trust us and be able to come to us with any tips they might have about something that's going on in the school, or just talk to us as friends and any problems they're having in their own lives.
I really enjoy building the relationships with the kids. Having teenagers of my own, I know some of the struggles that they're going through as teenagers, and I really enjoy having them come to me with those problems and help them deal with those as a teacher and a counselor to get through them.
We did an assessment of the school buildings by the police department. We identified some areas that needed to be shored up. Ingress and egress areas with a vestibule that's secure, ballistic covering for the windows as well, and strategic areas of the schools were very important to us. Our officers working the beat have the opportunity to come into a school. They can walk through it, get familiar with the school, but most importantly, get familiar with the students, develop a relationship. So they open the lines of communication. If they see something, to say something, that they trust our officers. I think that's a unique quality that we have here in the city of Strongsville.
And so we do have that great partnership as we talked about, and over the last 5 years, we've invested a tremendous amount of energy and resources into our safety and security. And as you can see, as Chief Vendor highlighted some of those, but it's not just about investing our general fund dollars. We've applied for and received $400,000 worth of grants to infuse into the safety work that we do as a school district, taking our total investment into student safety over a 5-year period of $1.5 million. And so I think that's tremendous that we take a look at not only the social emotional wellness, but the physical safety of our kids, because if we can address those needs of our students, then they have the greatest opportunity to find success academically in our school district. And so one of the things that's important, it's great to invest and have in all of this investment in our students, but we want to provide a return on investment. And I think it's important to say that and share that we're an extremely high-performing district, but we're doing this at a great value for our community. So if you take a look at a comparison of our per-pupil expenditures in Strongsville compared to other school districts, you can see that we're towards the bottom of the per-pupil expenditure, which is saying we're getting a great value for the dollars that we're spending. If you take a look at our tax rate compared to other Cuyahoga County school districts, we rank 25th out of 31 school districts in terms of the taxes that we levy on our community to support our school district. Said another way, 77% of other school districts, we pay less than 77% of other school districts. So what that means is if we take a home in Strongsville, put them in 24 other communities for that same price, you're going to pay more taxes than you pay in Strongsville. So I know nobody wants to pay more taxes, and probably a lot of people think their tax bill is high, but if you look comparatively to what we're spending per child, what we're spending in the tax base, which is lower than 3/4 of the rest of the communities in Cuyahoga County, and you look at our state report card, and the state report card ranks us in the top 5% of all school districts in the state of Ohio, that's something that I'm proud of, and I hope you're proud of as a community. And so what we want to continue to think about is how do we ensure that we have these strong schools, a strong community, and we protect that cash balance so we not only, what I shared is the starting point of investing, but a continuation. If we take a look at the cash balance with that May 2019 levy continuing, we have the opportunities to do that, but I want to caution everybody. It's not smooth sailing in the future. If we take a look at the landscape right now in public education, there's a lot of threats that are out there. We have Senate Bill 1, which is looking to restructure how education is overseen and make it a government-appointed position, which could create more rapid unfunded mandates and changes in the state of Ohio. We have House Bill 1, which is looking to restructure property tax and would take millions of dollars away from the school district. There's a strong movement called the Backpack Bill, which is basically saying universal vouchers for all kids, even high-performing school districts, that we're using public funds to pay for private school vouchers and tuition. As we take a look at the Fair School Funding Plan, which I'm very supportive of the Fair School Funding Plan, but there's aspects of it that could be a detriment to the financial component for us as Strongsville City Schools. So we have a lot of areas in the next few months and years that we need to keep an eye on. The other thing that is important to note is our Auditor of State, Auditor Keith Faber, has set new guidelines for what we could do as a school district in terms of levies and bond issues. So as a school district, we've always followed the letter of the law. We will continue to follow the letter of the law, but there's been new regulations which basically say, as superintendent or a treasurer, you cannot speak about your organization in regard to any levies or bonds. Because I work irregular hours, I am considered to always be on the clock. I have no free time where I'm Cameron Ryba, the constituent or community member. And so there's a high burden on me that I can't talk about as the leader of this organization. What is the need? What are we doing? How can we best support our community moving forward when the rules of the state are we have to rely on property tax to fund the majority of our school district. It's saying that the responsibility is going to shift to elected board members. So as we come to these areas where we may need additional funding or renewal levies, it's going to be increasingly challenging because the people in our organization that know most about what we're doing and where we're going are not able to share that sentiment with the community, even in a factual-based manner. And so we need to continue to preserve and protect that cash balance so we can continue to hold the high standard, keep the great value, and invest in our school district and our community moving forward. And so as we can see here, that cash balance with that levy stays there. Without the levy, we drop down nearly $24 million. Our deficit spending goes to $10, $11 million a year. You can do the math of how quickly that cash balance is going to be gone versus what it would be if we would stay the course. So I continue to urge all of us to continue to invest in our school district, support our school district so we can do what's in the best interest of our kids. And so as we take a look at that, we want to move now to our facilities portion of the discussion tonight. And we want to think not just solely about enrollment, but how can we create environments that inspire and enrich learning. And so in 2016, we have a committee that's our board facilities committee, and they sat down and they created a 30-year plan. And as you can see on the screen, around this time they said, hey, we've got to take a look at our elementary facilities. We've got to decide what we're doing with our elementary facilities, and we've got to complete an enrollment analysis to see where our enrollment is going as a school district. And so we did that. We completed an enrollment analysis last spring, and you can see historically, 10 years ago, we were almost 6,200 kids. And then you can see our enrollment starting to decline. And then you can see our enrollment in the last 3 years level off and start to grow. Now, where did the kids go? The kids did not go anywhere. There were just simply less kids in Strongsville. There were less children ages 5 to 18 in Strongsville to educate. As our population in Strongsville aged, kids moved out, our families stayed because of the great community, there was less kids here. But what we're starting to see now is our senior population maybe downsizing or moving into different areas or locations or assisted living. We're seeing new families come in, and on average, besides 2020-21, which was COVID, we're seeing about 100 new students a year. And so we've got a plan not only for the aging facilities, but a growing enrollment. And this year, our current enrollment as of a couple of weeks ago was almost 5,700 students. And so as we take a look at our elementary schools, and our preschools up there as well, and if we take a look at the capacity of each of these elementary schools, capacity is built on how many classrooms do we have, and if we put 25 kids in each of those classrooms, how many kids could fit. So based on our current structure, our current elementary buildings, we could fit a little over 1,900 kids in our elementary building. As of a couple days ago, here's how many kids are actually in our elementary buildings. And so if you take a look at the delta, we have basically another Muraski or Kinsner being fit into all of our 5 elementary buildings. Now, this does not mean necessarily that we don't have room for kids. It just means that things are really tight. And we've got to think about age of our buildings, space of our buildings, and we're not done growing yet. So let's take a look at some of my colleagues to show you a picture of what life is like in our buildings when you have this many kids with capacity limits that are much lower.
So at Lund Road Preschool, we continue to see our enrollment numbers climb. And in order to address that, we've had to add additional classrooms at our Chapman Elementary School location, which has been great. They've been really flexible with having us there, but as the numbers continue to increase at both Lund Road and Chapman, we're faced with a lot of spacing issues. So at the current Lund Road building, as you can see behind me, we've had to make makeshift classrooms that are at the end of the hallways. So it's not ideal, but we're doing what we can to make it work. Based on the trends that we've seen the last 5 years with enrollment, it only continues to increase because we're at 200 students at both preschool locations and we're full. So for next school year, we're lucky enough to have the peers come, but we are completely full with a waiting list for next school year already.
There are some challenges here at Chapman with just how creative we have to be with space. We do have district classrooms here at Chapman as well as 2 preschool classrooms that are in addition to the Lund Road Preschool. Year to year, we're continuing to look at the spaces we have, the programs we have, and we do have to continue to get creative, but while being creative to make sure that we can continue to provide all the supports to our students, we want to make sure that their learning isn't impacted and we're still able to provide them the education that we're desiring and designing, and that just each year can look very different based on all these different factors.
So our combined space together is the 3 intervention specialists here at Whitney. We also have 3 special education aides, and we are all in the same room.
It takes a lot of coordinating and communicating. We have to sometimes rotate in and out of our library or other spaces in order to make our days flow so that it's not too distracting.
It can be extremely difficult bringing our students into our room where it's supposed to be with fewer distractions, and sometimes it's actually more.
There are times where if I have something planned, like using a video with some students, and then maybe Andrea Zach's working with some kids on the other side, I don't use the video, or we make it quieter and just have to work around that because I don't want to distract the other groups that are working in our room at that same time.
This was 2 offices, so we had to take a wall down. It's a classroom, has a lot of students. Sometimes it's very warm in here, they sit in the halls. So if we have projects going on in the halls, you maneuver around the children. This particular area, the teacher does not have her stuff in the room. She has to leave the room and go to another room to get the things that she needs. Our gym teacher is in an HVAC room, so he shares it with an HVAC that, to say the least, is pretty dusty. The stage is the music teacher where she keeps all of her music. She has to come off of that stage to go to the classroom, so she has little carts with her individual day's work on the carts. More students, we are busting at the seams.
So this is my space. It's the vestibule at the end of the hallway. Right here we have the kindergarten classrooms. They play a lot of music, they do a lot of little cheers, and that can be really distracting to the kids I'm working with. They're always backing their chairs up, looking down the hallway to see what's going on. Working with kids during lunch periods is very difficult. Even with the door closed, it is still very, very loud in here all the time.
We have band and orchestra in the Media Center. We have several intervention specialists in the Media Center. We have several educational aides in the Media Center. We also have the guidance counselor. The day where we used to have open circulation at all times is no longer the case because that's very distracting. So the Media Center has lost that part of that quiet, come in and read, the literacy. We still have checkout time, but it's very structured. We're busting at the seams. We're in the hallways, we're in the vestibules, we're on the floor. Everybody's doing a great job, but we need more room.
So at the beginning of the year, we started with band lessons in the gym, and we had our lessons on stage while there was a gym class going on. The beginning band instruments, they're quite loud, and with only having a curtain in between, we were pretty much interrupting not only the gym classes, but they were also loud and excited in their gym classes, so the students were having a lot of trouble hearing the instruction. So they offered up doing lessons in the lobby, which has helped us with our space issues. However, we still have those distractions of students going up and down in the hallway and using the office, so it's a little bit tricky for the students to still be able to focus and keep their attention during each lesson. In prior years, we've had enough space so we were allowed to have a classroom, and that was perfect for us. We had our own space. I was able to space the students out. The doors were closed. We weren't interrupting other classes. So that's the most ideal location for us, is just to have our own classroom where we can spread out and make it appropriate for their learning.
In third grade, I think we do a really good job of working with each other and getting our kids to collaborate with one another. We do some different project-based learning. Currently, we are trying the best we can to work with all of third grade, but that is challenging, and because we don't have enough space to have the kids collaborating within one classroom. So I think increased space would really allow them the opportunity to see other kids in their grade level, see what they're doing, and just be exposed to more ideas and student perspectives. I love using some of the makerspace technology we have, but some of those things really do require a lot of space to allow kids to effectively collaborate and try new things. And so I think more than anything, it would really be a great opportunity for the kids to be able to really push themselves in their creative thinking.
At Muraski and in Strongsville as a whole, our goal is to service each and every child and really meet them where they are as an individual, but also promote growth opportunities for them overall. So again, we are really working on individualizing instruction for students, and what that does is that takes space. Right now I'm sitting in a small group learning environment for our kids. To expand that and be able to provide each kid the space they need to learn, but also that quality instruction and teaching really is meaningful as we try to service the whole child. A new learning environment, new resources, and just space overall is really the third classroom. It allows you to teach and innovate by bringing kids together who might not always have the opportunity to work with one another. We can bring in flexible seating and really create the opportunities and a setting where kids can utilize the resources that we do have and then continue to kind of build their knowledge and build their learning as they move forward in our future.
So not only does this video exemplify the challenges that we're having, but it exemplifies what we could do, right? It shares, if we had the space, if we had more classrooms, if we had collaborative experiences for our kids, that environment would provide experiences that would help our students succeed and learn in the way that best meets their needs at this time. And so, one of the things we have to take a look at is, are we leveling out? And the answer is no. We're not. Now, these are projections, right? We hired a firm to do projections for us, but the projections in this first year have been pretty accurate. But as we take a look, there's steady incremental growth of about that 100 students per year as we continue to go out. 10 years out, we're projected to have 1,000 more students. As you can see very clearly, based on our current enrollment, we're struggling to fit them. And we're struggling to fit them in a way that also offers all of the opportunities that we want to offer our kids in the space that is best suited for that. And so what we've done is we've engaged with a company, an architectural firm called GPD Group, and we've asked them to come in and do an analysis of our facilities. And so what they took a look at is all of our elementary facilities and Zellers, the old Zellers, that's our administrative office building. And you could see, besides Kinsner, a lot of our buildings are 50s, 60s, and 70s. So our buildings are coming to the end of their youthful or their useful age span as we move forward. And so one of the things that they do when we take a look at this is there's a formula that they say, hey, how much would it take to renovate this building to today's standards? That doesn't mean taking down walls or creating new innovative spaces. It just means leaving everything in place, getting the roof, HVAC, technology, fire, water, sewers, everything in a good standing order. And then how much would it cost to build a new building to replicate similar to what was there? If you get over that 2/3 mark, so 66%, the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission says you need to replace. And so what the red numbers designate is when we had this study done in 2012, any number in red is saying that we should have replaced that building. We should be considering replacing that building in 2012. Now, the reason you see Muraski divided is, if you don't know, Muraski has a new addition, as you can see, which was built in 2005, and the original wing, which was built in 1956 and some renovations a few years later. That's the division between the original part of the building and the new part. If we take a look at that assessment currently, you could see that there is still a significant need to replace our elementary buildings. Muraski, the reason that's orange is the analysis this time averaged those two numbers together. So it's the same idea that the old portion needs to replace, the new portion needs some renovation. So we are running out of room. We do not have buildings that are large enough to accommodate the number of kids we have. The data from the Ohio Facilities Commission says you need to renovate 2 of your buildings and replace 3 of them in the part of Muraski. And so what we've done, we've had our first kickoff meeting last night. We have over 60 people involved in the actual committee, another 50-some people involved as key communicators, is that we've developed a planning committee to look at what do we want elementary schools, what's our vision of elementary schools in the community moving forward, and what other projects do we want to consider as we look towards the future of our school district, facility-wise, that's going to meet the needs of our kids and our community. And so we just started that work, and throughout the next few months, we'll be sharing updates, plans, ideas, and then eventually we'll be reaching out to our teachers and staff, our students and parents, and our community as a whole to share ideas of what our future elementary project and facilities project is going to look like as a school district. The last part that I want to share with you tonight is an important piece, and that's our focus for the future. And so when I became superintendent a handful of years ago, we set the Strong Schools 2020 plan, which set a vision for the future to become a premier district, not only in the region, but in the state, for our students to be an innovative district. And now it's time to update our strategic plan. And to do that, we collaborated with a group called the Impact Group because we wanted to engage with our community. We wanted to hold focus groups. We wanted to do surveys. We wanted to have individual interviews if we could. And we had over 1,000 people engage with us. And I think one of the things we want to do first before we get into some of the data and what the strategic plan is going to look like is celebrate some of the successes that we learned through this stakeholder engagement.
Hi, I'm Phil Herman.
And I'm Lori Sandell, and we're with the Impact Group. Over the last few months, we have had the distinct pleasure of working with the Strongsville City School District and its community to help develop its strategic plan. We work with districts all over the state of Ohio and beyond, and we wanted to share some very specific observations we made while working with the Mustangs of Strongsville.
Some of the strengths of the district clearly include its amazing student body, the dedication of its teachers, and all the employees who care so deeply about the student and the amazingly supportive community that encompasses the district. Hundreds of people use words like strong academics, excellent class and extracurricular offerings, well-rounded students, teachers, administrators, and all the support staff that truly care about children and much more.
They talked about the community's dedication to supporting all the programs in the district, from its performing arts to athletics to career tech programs and everything in between. People truly consider Strongsville a premier district in which to live and raise their families.
Well, there are always areas of improvement for any school district, many of which are addressed in the strategic plan itself. There is so much to be proud of and to celebrate. We hope that you are able to take a moment to celebrate the outstanding school district and community where you live and learn. At the Impact Group, we believe in the power and importance of great schools, and we'd like to thank the entire Strongsville school community for the hard work and dedication that you've shown to your students and their families.
Your commitment to education is to be commended. Thank you for allowing us to be involved in this process with you.
It's wonderful to get validation from outside groups. And so, one of the things, my mindset is always focused on what do we need to do to improve? What do we need to do to get better? And it was so rewarding to have Phil and Lori share with us. These results that we see from our community are not results that they see everywhere. And so I think it's time to celebrate and share some of the things that we need to be proud of what we've done as a learning community and as a city. And so this first question that I wanted to highlight with you from a parent perspective is we? Yeah, maybe not. I've got to figure out my English. But are we headed right direction? How rewarding is that almost 90% of our parents say absolutely. Yes, we're headed in the right direction. And just because I'm curious, I did the math, and that's saying out of 786 people that answered this question, only about 70 said we're not. So if we're hitting 700 plus people that say, yes, we're with you, you're heading in the right direction, that's something that we need to celebrate. The other thing we need to celebrate is we need to be effective and engaging communicators with our community, with our stakeholders, with our parents. Almost 90% of our parents said they feel we as a district have excellent or good communication, almost a 90% positive rating. So not only do they feel we're going in the right direction, not only do they feel that we're communicating effectively, but this is one of my favorites because it says they trust us. And we can do great things when we have that collective trust between our parents, between our community, and between our school district to say that when asked, and they can select all that apply, who do you trust to give you information? 90% of our parents said they trust our superintendent and administration. Almost 83% said teachers and staff. And I put up the number of Board of Education because even though it's 37%, that's an extremely high number. That's an extremely high number for school districts, not my opinion, impact group's opinion, to say you've got high trust with your administration, with your teachers, and your board, and that means we can do great things together. And so one of the questions we asked is, what are some of the district's strengths? And as you can see here, we provide a well-rounded quality education, great resources and opportunities, that community involvement and PTA support, excellent staff members who care about kids and communicate thoroughly. And when we asked our staff that same question, I love their answers. Opportunities for kids to succeed. We can compete with those top performing districts, and we're constantly seeking to improve great infrastructure, overall message, and community and school support. With those, that sets the foundation of where we want to go and what our mission is as a school district. And so one of the things we said is what do we want to do to achieve our overall organization purpose, our just cause, our aspirational goal. And we want to continue to partner with our community so that we can provide premier educational experiences, whether that's in arts or athletics or academics or in our facilities that develop innovative, resilient, collaborative, global, and empowered students so that they are architects of their learning, prepared to thrive in their future. We need to create kids that are thinkers and doers and learners and creative individuals. The days of sitting and knowing isolated information is not what we need to prepare our kids to do. Yes, they need the basics, they need a foundational understanding. That is still vitally important. But at the rapid pace our world is evolving, we need to develop within them the skills that they can compete. And those skills are listed on the mission statement there so that they could be drivers in their learning, and we're focused on what do they need for their future versus what worked for us in our past. And we do that by this 13-year commitment that we have to our families called Our Model Mustang or Our Portrait of a Graduate, where we explicitly connect the content, knowledge, and the rigorous standards that we have, and obviously we succeed at high levels, with the skills that kids are going to need to find success in the workforce in their future. And so as we take a look at our next 3 years and our strategic plan, we've set some strategic priorities. And the first one being transforming teaching and learning. I choose the words of these priorities deliberately. It's not about doing what we are currently doing better. It is truly about transforming what we're doing for our kids because that's what they need for us for their future. And so when we take a look at some of the feedback we got that drove this is overall, what quality of education do you believe was provided to our kids? almost 93% of our parents are saying good or excellent quality of education. So we're moving in the right direction, but there's still work to be done. Now there's a plethora of things that we're going to focus on that share and highlight those areas of growth we have, but I wanted to highlight a few of those. Is that we need to focus on rigorous content. That's still the foundation, the bedrock of what we do. But durable skills means, are we creating and developing students that are good collaborators, communicators, problem solvers, critical thinkers, so that when they move on into their future, whether it's career or college or military, they're able to navigate the exponential change that's happening in the workforce faster than it ever has before. That we want to make sure that we're creating relevant and responsive experience for our kids of all needs. So whether we have students with disabilities, whether we have students that do well with just the regular pathway curriculum that we have, to our high achieving and gifted learners, we want to make sure that we have meaningful learning experiences for all of our students. And we do that by, we have to look into the future. And we have to be able to say, how can we research best practices to create those personalized learning experiences? I think this is around my 25th year in education. And as you take a look at that, we have structures and systems that have been in place that were there long before I ever got in education, that have served their purpose, and the time has come to look at different ways for students to access their learning and knowledge. And so we need to study, how can we be flexible with the use of time, space, pace, and path, so we can have a personalized learning experience for our kids. We need to look at aligning our staff and resources so we can achieve the mission that we have. And as we look at a couple questions here about, do we feel that we're successfully preparing our students at each level? 84% of our parents said, yes, you are. So we've got 84% is great, right? But we've got some room for growth here about how we're preparing them for elementary, for middle school for high school, and high school for life beyond. And so one of the things we heard loud and clear from our teachers was we have this investment in early literacy, and that's been a game changer for them. But we need to take a look at the resources and the materials that we have in our K-5 English Language Arts curriculum, so that they have the resources and tools so they can create those experiences and spend their energy in the how of teaching to best meet the needs of the students that are in front of them. We also need to look at those connections between our school district and the business world with our business organizations and nonprofits, so we can create real-world experiences for our students while they're still in school, whether it's through internship or mentorship options. And then we need to do that by ensuring, and we all know as a school district as well, we are challenged with attracting and recruiting and retaining staff. We're still doing okay. But we need to put a deliberate focus not only on the recruiting and attracting and hiring, but what can we do to retain the high quality staff that we've had and that we need to best meet the needs of our kids. We also need to cultivate a culture and climate that's going to support learning. Sometimes, and I think I have a slide about it later on, I talk about that we want all of our kids to feel valued and accepted and heard. And why is that important to me? Why is that sense of belonging important to me? And important to me as an educator, because I think we can all understand and appreciate that if we don't have that sense of safety, that sense of belonging, those basic needs met, we can't learn. And so we need to cultivate a culture and a climate that provides the environment that best meets the needs of our students. And as we took a look and surveyed our parents to say, what do you see as the largest challenges we're going to face as a district in the next 3 to 5 years? Buildings and facilities, safety, and mental health are the three biggest concerns for our parents. Our staff feedback mirrors that pretty closely. So as we take a look at that culture and climate and what are we going to do to support the mental health and safety and well-being of our students, another thing we heard loud and clear from our parents in our survey results is, district, we need you to take a look at the current behavior policies, procedures, and practices that you have in place, and the teachers also and the staff also said this is an area they want us to focus on, and so we're going to focus on that over the next few years, while also focusing on student programming to address the increasing social and emotional needs of our kids. And to do that, we need to create that culture as we talk about student, staff, and community member feels valued and accepted and heard, and that we have an inclusive environment for our students where they all feel a part and they belong to our school community. And finally, we need to leverage what we talked about a lot this evening was the funding and the facilities that we have to meet the educational needs of our district moving forward. And so this is from our staff as we surveyed our parents as well. But these are the folks that live and breathe it every single day. And we said, hey, Chapman Elementary School, from a facilities standpoint, how would you rate it? 72% of our staff gave it a fair or poor rating for the conditions of what they're working in. Now, let me clarify. We have a phenomenal custodial and maintenance staff. They've done amazing work. The buildings are safe, they're secure, they're dry, they're clean. You saw the challenges that they're referring to, right? You saw the ideas of here's what we have to do to manage it, here's where we want to go, but we don't have space to do it. So that's saying 72%, we need a better facility to meet what our kids need in 2023 and beyond. 51% at Sarar Elementary, 80% at Whitney Elementary School say we need a better environment for our kids. And so we need to do that. A part of our strategic plan is looking at potential new construction and renovation of district buildings so we can have for the next 30 to 50 years a school district that has facilities that matches the needs of our kids. We also asked a question about our finances and being transparent with our financial information. I love this result, and this is something that George and his team should celebrate, that our parents, almost over 89% of our parents said, we trust and feel the district is transparent with how it's spending its dollars. Over 94% of our staff had that same feeling. And so again, we've got that trust between our staff, our community, and our parents. And so we need to continue that on by remaining financially transparent, meeting those high reporting standards, and sharing information about our finances with our community in a way that's meaningful to them. And as we talked about in the great partnership with Chief Draves and Chief Fender, we need to continue to evolve our safety program and ensure consistent application across the district buildings as well as athletic events. And so as we look at the work we're going to do over the next 3 years, highlighting those areas, but there's more included, this is the avenue, the pathway that we're going to work and drive to achieve our mission of ensuring that our kids have a pathway to be architects of their learning so that they can be prepared for their future. And so as we typically conclude, we ask our families and our community if they have any questions instead of doing a Q&A session at the end. So I did want to share a few of the highlights or a few of the questions that came in. The first one was, we just joined Strongsville Schools this school year. Why does the district have world language at the middle school or more advanced classes like science? So I don't have an answer to this question other than we don't have it right now. We used to have it in terms of the world languages, but I think it's important to study this. And so our strategic planning process is going to take a look at what are our course offerings and options, and specifically at the elementary level and middle school level, that best meet our students' needs. Our high school level is equipped to develop and offer new classes on an annual basis, and that course catalog evolves and grows every year. We do need to put a strategic effort on our middle school planning. We do review it every year, but a concerted effort we'll put on that to say what courses and experiences do our students need at that level, and starting at what grade level, and to look at how we can invest into that aspect of our district moving forward. Explain the district's policy on DEI and how our teachers train and what resources available to students. So as a school district, we have a diversity council. It's been in place for a number of years. I know that's probably little on the screen, but we've sat down and said we understand that the words diversity, equity, and inclusion, those can bring certain emotions about based on how people define them. So we define them clearly for our school district, that diversity is the presence of differences within a community. That equity is the assurance that each individual gets what they need to thrive. And inclusion is the process of welcoming an individual and helping them to feel that sense of belonging. So in terms of what are we doing to support our teachers and staff, we've created a strategic plan that's focused on that student experience that we've started to enact here this month. And just real quickly, we're focusing on how can we be responsive to the cultural and religious celebrations and observances that are in our school community. We'll be studying opportunities for exposure, education, and programming that highlights diverse experiences. We'll be focused on how we can develop in our students and staff, how we act with kindness and care and respect, even when we have conflict or difficult conversations that we need to have. And finally, how do we build a staff that's reflective and empathetic to all of our students in the district? So these are our focus areas under the umbrella of diversity, equity, and inclusion to support that student experience. Finally, we have two more. What is the district doing to share mental health and substance use disorder resources for students' parents with a focus on high school families? I would say this is one of my, besides the mental health, substance abuse is one of my most growing concerns. It's sad to see that we have students as early as the middle school that are addicted to THC. And so as we take a look at the work we're doing, again, this is a growing need that we're working with our counselors, our social workers, our SROs at the middle school and high school. We work directly with our families to provide resources and supports. There's going to be a free session on this topic coming up at the end of March. Your principal will be sharing details. And again, this is an evolving topic that we are going to work with the experts in the field to continue to provide resources and supports to our families. And finally, question was, hey, why are you guys no longer offering field trips? My kids in third grade, they have to pay. Not everybody gets to go visit museums and science centers. They usually do that at school. So the third graders, correct, have not gone on a field trip because of COVID. But field trips are back this year. They are going to start happening in the spring. So you can see the list of field trips that will, the preschool is an in-house field trip that comes to the preschool. Most of our grade levels will be traveling. We're still working on 7th grade, where they're going, and 6th grade and 8th grade are trips that our community supports. And I do want to give a shout out to our Strongsville Education Foundation, who funds all of the transportation for these field trips. So it's a phenomenal aspect of work that they do to ensure that our kids could have field trips and have these experiences, as the parents shared, to go to the Rock Hall or the Science Center or a hike, and to do that with their classroom community. So we're excited that in this spring those field trips would return. So as I close tonight, I just want to thank you for being here, being a part of the conversation and discussion. And I hope as you take a look at the work that we're doing and the strong financial position we're in, we continue to have earned your support to invest in our students even further moving forward, that you see the growing need that we have with the exciting part of more kids, but the challenging part of buildings that are 50, 60, 70 years old, and having a premier educational space for our kids to grow and thrive. And the fact that we've engaged with our community, and yes, you have confidence and trust in the work that we're doing, but that there's no finish line for learning. That we've listened to your story, and that we're going to put into place some changes so that we can be the difference for our kids and our community. So thank you everyone for being here, and everyone have a great evening.